Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chris, and today we're diving into a lesser-told story of the American auto industry. We're not talking about the Fords or Toyotas, but about 5 major Asian automakers that left the US market, taking with them nearly 38,000 jobs, many from Detroit's heartland. These aren't just business stories, they're about communities, livelihoods, and the shifting tides of global competition. Each brand tried to win over American drivers, some even finding success, until fierce competition, economic downturns, or strategic missteps forced them out. We'll explore why they left, and the real human cost behind those empty factories and shuttered dealerships. Let's uncover the stories behind the brands that vanished from the American automotive scene. Here's what happened. First up, Mitsubishi, a name once synonymous with cars like the Lancer and Eclipse, vehicles that became icons among car enthusiasts and defined an era of Japanese performance. These models weren't just cars, they were dreams on wheels, inspiring a generation of drivers with their rally heritage and bold designs. Their ambitious joint venture with Chrysler, known as Diamond Star Motors, led to the construction of a massive plant in Normal, Illinois. This facility didn't just assemble cars, it became a cornerstone of the local economy, employing thousands and supporting families for decades. The partnership symbolized Mitsubishi's commitment to the American market and its global ambitions. But the early 2000s brought a wave of trouble. A damaging defect cover-up scandal in Japan shattered consumer trust, while risky zero-down loans in the US backfired, leading to massive defaults and financial losses. These missteps exposed cracks in Mitsubishi's foundation, both at home and abroad. As Mitsubishi's reputation faltered, competition intensified. Honda and Toyota continued to dominate, while fast-rising Korean brands like Hyundai and Kia offered fresh alternatives, squeezing Mitsubishi from all sides and making it harder to stand out. Their lineup began to age, with fewer exciting new models to attract buyers. Sales slid year after year, and the brand gradually lost its identity, shifting away from performance icons to a lineup of generic crossovers that failed to capture the public's imagination. In 2015, Mitsubishi made the difficult decision to close the Normal plant, ending over 1,200 jobs and leaving a deep scar on the community. For many, it was more than just a factory closure, it was the end of an era. Today, Mitsubishi still sells a handful of crossovers in the US, but their presence is a shadow of what it once was. The brand's manufacturing retreat marked a major loss, both for the company and for American car culture. The closure of the plant stands as a stark example of how corporate missteps, changing consumer tastes, and relentless global competition can erase decades of progress almost overnight, leaving communities and workers behind. Today, the old factory has found new life with Rivian, an electric vehicle startup bringing hope and jobs back to Normal. Yet Mitsubishi's exit remains a cautionary tale for automakers everywhere. It's a powerful reminder that in the auto industry, even giants can fade away if they lose their way and fail to adapt. Suzuki, quirky, small, and tough, was always an underdog in America. Arriving in the US with a reputation for building reliable, affordable vehicles, Suzuki tried to carve out a niche in a market dominated by giants. Their cars were never the flashiest, but they had a certain charm and ruggedness that appealed to a loyal few. Their Samurai and Sidekick SUVs built a cult following, especially among off-road enthusiasts and drivers looking for something different from the mainstream. These models became icons for their go-anywhere attitude and affordable price tags. And the Swift was a favorite for budget buyers, offering a practical, fuel-efficient option at a time when small cars were in demand. For many first-time drivers and families on a budget, Suzuki was a smart choice. But Suzuki's limited lineup and tiny dealer network made it hard to compete with giants like Toyota and Honda. While those brands offered dozens of models and had dealerships in every city, Suzuki's presence was scattered and often overlooked. As Americans shifted to bigger vehicles, Suzuki's small cars lost appeal. The rise of massive pickups and SUVs left Suzuki's compact offerings looking out of place, and sales began to slide. Their marketing budget was minuscule, and most buyers barely noticed Suzuki existed. Without flashy ads or big sponsorships, Suzuki struggled to stay in the public eye, and their cars faded into the background. The 2008 financial crisis hit hard, and a strong yen made imports even pricier. Suddenly, Suzuki's already thin profit margins disappeared, and the company faced mounting financial pressure. Facing mounting losses, Suzuki chose to exit rather than gamble billions on a US-specific lineup. The risk was simply too great for a company of their size, and the writing was on the wall. In 2012, they filed for bankruptcy and stopped selling cars in America, though motorcycles and ATVs remained. For car fans, it was the end of an era, but Suzuki's spirit lived on in other ways. Over 2,500 dealership jobs vanished overnight, leaving owners with unsellable inventory and broken dreams. Communities lost local businesses, and loyal customers lost a brand they'd grown to trust. Suzuki's story is a lesson. Even good products can't survive without scale, visibility, and adaptability in the brutal US market. Their departure is a reminder that success in America requires more than just great cars. It takes relentless innovation, deep pockets, and a bit of luck. Daihatsu, Toyota's small car specialist, barely made a blip in the US launching in 1988 with the Charade and Rocky. They hoped to win buyers with cheap, efficient cars. But Americans wanted more space, power, and features, even in entry-level vehicles. Daihatsu's tiny marketing budget and scattered dealerships meant most people never saw one. Their cars were too small, too basic, and too unknown to gain traction. As competitors offered more value and better support, Daihatsu's bare-bones approach fell flat. By 1992, after selling just 15,000 cars at their peak, Daihatsu withdrew, citing recession and tough safety standards. About 600 jobs disappeared, and 150 small dealerships were left stranded. Daihatsu's US experiment is a classic case of a global strategy that simply didn't fit American tastes. Isuzu once thrived in America with rugged SUVs like the Trooper and Rodeo, vehicles that became icons of adventure and reliability for families and off-road enthusiasts alike. Their reputation for durability and capability made them a favorite among those seeking something different from the mainstream. Isuzu also captured attention with quirky, memorable ads featuring the infamous Joe Isuzu, a tongue-in-cheek character who made wild claims about their vehicles, helping the brand stand out in a crowded market. To expand their reach, Isuzu partnered with automotive giants GM and Honda, forging alliances that allowed them to share technology and resources. They built vehicles for other brands, producing badge-engineered models that filled gaps in their partners' lineups and kept Isuzu's factories humming. This strategy helped Isuzu remain relevant, offering vehicles that met the changing needs of American consumers and filling key gaps in the market. But Isuzu's true strength was always in trucks and commercial vehicles, not in passenger cars or crossovers. As crossovers and car-based SUVs began to dominate the market, Isuzu's expertise in traditional body-on-frame SUVs became less relevant, and their lineup started to look outdated. Their inability to quickly adapt to these new trends turned their once strong reputation into a liability, as buyers flocked to more modern alternatives. When Honda and GM developed their own SUVs, they no longer needed Isuzu's expertise or manufacturing capacity. Isuzu lost its biggest partners almost overnight, leaving the company scrambling to find a new direction. Their lineup shrank to just a few rebadged GM models with little to distinguish them from the competition. Isuzu lost the unique identity and innovation that once set them apart, becoming a shadow of their former self in the US market. Sales plummeted from over 100,000 vehicles a year to under 10,000, a dramatic fall that signaled the end was near. In 2008, after years of decline, Isuzu officially ended US passenger vehicle sales, unable to justify the investment in new models for a shrinking and highly competitive market. The decision meant halting development on future vehicles and the closure of design and engineering offices across the country. Thousands of jobs were lost as a result, affecting not just factory workers but also engineers, designers, and support staff. Over 1,500 employees at their Indiana plant were directly impacted, and thousands more at dealerships across the country faced uncertain futures as the brand disappeared from showrooms. Today, Isuzu still sells commercial trucks in the US, remaining a respected name in that segment. But their passenger car legacy serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of over-reliance on partnerships and the critical importance of adapting to a rapidly changing market. Daewoo's US adventure was bold and disastrous. In 1998, they launched with Italian-designed, value-packed cars and a direct sales model that bypassed traditional dealers. But their campus advisor program flopped, and company-owned stores limited reach. The 1997 Asian financial crisis crippled Daewoo's parent company, leaving the U.S. arm unsupported. Warranty claims went unpaid, parts dried up, and reliability issues mounted. Dealers and customers were left in limbo as Daewoo collapsed. In 2000, Daewoo declared bankruptcy. By 2002, GM bought the assets but not the U.S. dealer network. Daewoo's cars lived on as Chevrolets and Suzukis, but the brand vanished. The shutdown cost about 7,000 jobs and left hundreds of dealers with worthless inventory. Daewoo's story is a warning. Rapid expansion and shaky finances can turn ambition into catastrophe overnight. 5 brands, 38,000 jobs lost, and communities changed forever in ways we're still discovering. These stories aren't just about business, they're about families, workers, and entire towns left behind. The empty factories and silent showrooms remind us how brutal the auto industry can be. As new players rise and old giants pivot to survive, the lessons from these exits are more relevant than ever before. Did you or someone you know ever own one of these cars, or work for these companies at any point? Share your stories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more deep dives like this. Take care and see you in the next video. End